Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Young Changemakers Club. Are you ready to make some change? No, I'm not talking about making change in coins out of dollar bills. I'm talking about making change in the world and change for good. And so to help lead us through that process is Erin Tarr. Welcome, Erin.
Hello, thank you for having me here today. I'm going to share my screen with you so we can get started. And Beth is going to make it look beautiful so that our faces are all the right sizes, right? All right, Young Change Makers Club. Here we go. This is me once again. Okay, so if you were here on Wednesday or if you watched my Wednesday, show, some of this is my intro of how I introduce myself. So it's going to seem a little familiar to you. So I won't dwell on it very long. And if you've already watched it and you're watching this in the future, go ahead and fast forward through this part because you already know. But I am a motivational speaker, and I find that there are basically three types of motivational speakers in this world. There's those with a really interesting life story, like they had really cool parents or they lived in really cool places or something like that. There's the type of people that overcome amazing things, like they, broke both their legs when they were in the middle of the Andes and they crawled back to civilization or something crazy like that. Or there are those people that have a really unique talent, or they're a really great athlete, like they're an Olympic sport or something like that. And so what I normally ask people to do is say, which one of these three types of motivational speakers do you think I am? And Beth and Kathy both already know this. Serenity, which one do you think I am? Any guesses? She's like,
probably interesting life story.
Probably interesting life story. Well, let me just disavow you of that, Serenity. That I was born in Southern Illinois, grew up there most of my life to a mom and a dad and two sisters. I came up to the University of Illinois to go to college. So I literally traveled less than 3 hours from my home to go to the University of Illinois, and then settled here for the rest of my life and married my summer camp sweetheart. So while my life is pretty basic, I would say it is a little sweet, oh, isn't that sweet? I married my camp sweetheart, but not interesting at all. Also, I have not overcome really anything that is not common to the rest of us. And I am definitely not an athlete or have any unique talent. I do enjoy singing, but no one's ever paid me to do it or anything. And I can't juggle or ride a unicycle or really anything very interesting that would be worthy of motivationally speaking about. So I am just a normal everyday person, which makes me 100% qualified to talk about everyday anxiety and overwhelm that we all experience. And so that is what I do. And I come at it from a very normal perspective. I think a lot of times we hear from motivational speakers and think, well, yeah, but they're special or they're this or they're that. I'm not. I'm normal. And everything that I talk about are things that I've experienced and that I figured out through normal life experiences, because I know that girls will let lack of confidence or self-doubt, anxious thoughts, overwhelm, insecurity, and self-consciousness. I know that some of them, many of them, I am one of them, have let those things keep me from pursuing my dreams in the past. And when I ended up having my three daughters, I said, you know what? I'm not going to let this happen to them. And being someone who is an educator with a background in education, I'm like, hey, if that's not good enough for my daughters, if I'm going to make sure that they have the tools that they need to not let their dreams die, I want to make sure that everybody that they grow up with has all the tools they need to not let their dreams die. So when I had my three daughters, several different things happened in my life, but they led me to basically this life philosophy that is the foundation of what I do every day. And that is, I choose my thoughts so I can create a life that I love, that I want to live, not one that somebody is pushing on me or has decided for me or that society has told me I need to have, so that I can change the world. Because that's what this is about today, is changing the world and making changes. And so this is the third piece for me of what I have to do. And my other session that was on Wednesday, if you're watching this later, is very much about the choose your thoughts piece. that comes first. And so this is the third piece, but they all flow together. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. Today, all of that is based on my fiercest framework. We went over the F and the I on Wednesday. Today, we are doing this second E in the fiercest framework. That is what we are going to talk about today. And so this is a statistic that I shared also on Wednesday about over 50% of the world's population giving up on their dreams because they're unsatisfied, and they're unsatisfied with their lives because of that. And that's too many. And that is one of the things that we need to change in this world, is we need to make sure that women specifically, but all people, are not giving up on their dreams, that they're being able to think creatively and problem solve through the issues like lack of support. That's one of the issues that leads women to give up on their dreams. Another issue is their lack of money. And a third issue is their lack of confidence. These are problems that we need to creatively address so that everyone, not just white middle-aged men, get to live into their dreams. Okay. So if you happen to be a white middle-aged man watching this, I have nothing against you, but I think all of us should be able to do the things and to live the dreams. And that's what we're going to talk about. So the secret sauce that we're talking about today, if I had something that, let me see if I would open opportunities for you, if you utilize this and it opened opportunities, and it motivated you, and it helped you to see others differently for their strengths specifically, if it helped you to have stronger friendships, to deepen your trust and connection with others, it would literally change the world and make other people better. Would you want to know about that thing? Is that something that you would want in your life? Yeah, I think so. All right. Well, let me just tell you about it then. Here is what it is. And oh, look at that. I did it backwards. And encouragement each day creates happiness that stays. Encouragement is the way that we're going to talk about today that changes the world. And it's so easy and simple that unfortunately sometimes we overlook it. But I'm going to help us talk through some ways that we can not only implement it in a easier way in our lives, but also help it to be maximally more effective than maybe we've practiced it in the past. So this is the E. Encouragement is the E in the fiercest framework, and encouragement each day creates happiness that stays. So encouragement is like oxygen to the human spirit. Don't forget you're carrying someone else's air. Encourage them and help them breathe. Have you ever thought of encouragement that way? That literally the words that you're able to speak to someone can help them breathe, can help them see the world in the way that they're meant to see it and become the person they're meant to be. That is what we are talking about when we talk about encouragement. So this, I was supposed to send you guys a link, I think, if I was going to watch a YouTube video. So let's hope that this works. But this is a YouTube video that we're going to watch. So cross our fingers. Here we go. This is the IKEA thing I was talking about the other day.
Nobody likes you. No one notices when you're in home. You're a mistake. You're useless. You're not even green. You look rotten. Are you really even alive? I like you the way you are. Seeing you blossom makes me happy. You're making a difference in the world. You are beautiful.
I brought them here to see the plant. I was like, a plant is getting bullied. Like, it's not normal. project, to have something tangible that he'll actually physically be a part of is, I think, going to be very powerful.
As the weeks passed, I started noticing that the one that was being bullied started kind of to droop.
While the friend that was being complimented, it was flourishing and beautiful.
It's raised the profile massively of different forms of bullying and the effects that bullying can have on people.
With the effects applied to definitely affect other people.
So pretty powerful if you look at it. Okay, now I got it. Okay, there we go. So an encourager's life motivates you. Someone in your life that encourages you is someone that motivates you. There's someone that sees people differently, that they speak those strengths to people. Opportunities are opened for people who are encouragers. They have strong relationships. They make other people better, and they ultimately change the world. This is what we're talking about with encouraging. And the other YouTube sensation is taking a cup of rice and doing this with a cooked cup of rice and putting them in your home and doing one that you compliment, one that you say negative things to, and one that you ignore actually. And there's several of those. I keep meaning to do it with my kids. Every time I give this talk, I'm like, I'm going to do that with my kids so that I have like firsthand knowledge of doing that. And I'm not just trusting like the internet people. But it's the same type of situation that you see happening. And it's fascinating because obviously there's something more going on here than meets the eye. And like we talked about on Wednesday, you feel different, when you hear different words, you feel differently. And I'm going to break from the script for just a second, because how you make others feel about themselves says a lot about you, but it also impacts you. And I had a really crappy day this morning. So I woke up, everything was fine. My daughter is 2 weeks out from her vaccination. And so we actually went to the coffee shop and had coffee together, the two of us. It was so exciting to celebrate. And then we walked home, and we're walking home and I'm like, oh man, we're running a little bit late. We need to get your sister so we can get you guys to camp, yada, yada, yada. And then I had an appointment right after I would run them to camp. So it was going to be a quick turnaround, but it was going to be fine. But then I said, your sister takes a little time to get going in the morning. If she's not awake, maybe just wait till after my appointment. I'll take you to camp a little late. How do you feel about that? She's like, that's fine. Let's just do that. We'll take it easy this morning. I'm like, okay, great. So we get home, sister was awake, and sister's like, no, we need to get there on time. Let's go, 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 go. So she's like ready to go. Other sister's like, no, let's be laid back. So they can't decide. So already I'm like, they're like at each other with which way we're going to go. So I'm like, fine, I'll take the one that wants to go now, and then I'll do my appointment, and then I'll take the one that wants to go later, because, I'm a mom. I have all the time in the world. What difference does it make, right? So they're already like angry at each other, and then they're angry at me for being, like too accommodating to the other one or whatever, so already our house is tense. I get in the car, I go to start the car, and it won't start. Not because there's anything wrong with the car, but because there's no key in the car. And I have one of those keys where like, as long as the key is in the car somewhere, it starts. Well, I keep my key in my purse in my car at all times, unless my sweet dear husband decides to take my car somewhere and puts the key in his pocket and takes the key God knows where. So I'm like running back into the house, like, where's my key? He's already at work, of course. So I'm like searching the pockets of his laundry, looking for this key, can't find the key. So I end up telling the one that wanted to go early, sorry, you're going to have to wait because I don't even know where the key is. So I'm texting their dad like, hey, what'd you do with the key? What's going on? And I mean, I'm sure, if this would happen to you, you would be very cool and calm and collected, and like, there would be no freak out. There would be no yelling. There would be no issues. But for me, it's probably just me. I went from like a, level 2, 3 anxiety, which I think we're all at on a daily basis, to like a 12 in the matter of like 5 minutes. And so I just tell the girls, I'm like, I don't even know what to tell you. Like, I don't have time to find it, whatever, yada, yada. So there's just like lots of turmoil. I get on my call, blah, blah, blah. So it's just a really like crappy morning. When I finally found the key several hours later in the bottom of a laundry basket that had fallen out of his pants when he put them in the laundry basket last night before. But anyway, I sat down outside and I got on my phone and I just started texting and video messaging everyone on my list to tell them how awesome they were, to tell them how much I love them, what was great about them, to encourage them in their day. Because you know what I needed today? I needed encouragement. And so you know what I did? I gave encouragement, because what you put out is what you get back. And not one of those people messaged back and said, "Oh, Erin, you're awesome too." They did say thank you. They didn't necessarily give me what I needed, but I didn't need it anymore because I had given. And so I tell that story just to think of the big picture of encouragement. We want to be encouragers, but when we need encouragement, it's the best thing that we can do is to give it back to others. Like, I felt so much better after 20 minutes of like texting people and telling them how amazing they were and how much they mean to me or what I love about them or what I see in them. So how you make others feel about themselves says a lot about you, but it also does a lot for you. It's selfish, I know, but it's also not. I don't understand it, but it is. So anyway, before encouragement, people might feel kind of crappy. Afterwards, they feel good, and that's awesome. But again, it's not just them. It's me. Before I gave that encouragement, I felt pretty. And then after, am I allowed to say shitty? I don't know. Anyway, but afterwards, you can bleep that out later. I don't know. I felt so much better, even though nothing had changed in my circumstance. It was still a hard morning, but I felt so much better. So there are two things that I kind of want to talk about in regards to encouragement. There is nutritious encouragement and there is junk food encouragement. And I'm not saying either one is bad. I'm not saying junk food is bad per se, but I'm saying the purpose that it serves is different. And so we're going to talk about really developing nutritious encouragement today, because junk food encouragement is kind of what I talk about, like, hey, Serenity, you're doing a great job. And Kathy, your hair looks really nice today. And Beth, you're just awesome. That's great. It makes you feel nice, right? But that's what I would call junk food encouragement. Because you know what? That's only going to last you maybe a couple seconds. It's going to give you a little bit of energy, maybe just a little whatever, but it's not going to feed you for the long term. It's not going to keep you going when times get tough. Oh, Erin said that my hair looks cute, or Erin says that I'm awesome, or what, you know, like when life hits you, when challenges come, that type of encouragement is not going to sustain you. So we're going to talk about developing the nutritious encouragement that's going to sustain people through time, because nutritious encouragement does a couple of things. One is it reflects the truth of who people are. So Beth is an enthusiastic person. That is the truth. She brings enthusiasm where she goes, and it is contagious. That is nutritious. When she's not feeling enthusiastic, she can pull on the encouragement of when people have told her that she is, to overcome and to be who she knows herself to be. So true nutritious encouragement reflects that truth. It also helps people to have a new lens, because sometimes, and we talked a little bit about this on Wednesday when we're talking about our I am statements and affirmations, we need other people to see things in us, even the smallest seed of something, in order to give us that lens to see ourselves. So when someone else looks at how I handled a situation and says, wow, you really problem solved through that situation in a creative way, I might have been thinking like, man, I really screwed that up. That was not at all how I intended it to be. But when they're able to give me that kernel of truth, I can wholly change my lens on how I handled that situation, because they told me I was a creative problem solver in that moment. So I can change my lens of how I view myself and how I viewed that situation because of their encouragement, because it was nutritious. Because they could have just said, hey, Erin, you did a great job with that situation. That doesn't really change my lens, because I'm like, well, yeah, nobody died, so I guess I did do a great job. But when they tell me I'm a creative problem solver, I get to use a new lens. So we're going to do it together, because I like to do things together. So step one of nutritious encouragement, if you're taking notes, this is a great time to take notes. Pinpoint a specific action. So Kathy, when you let me into the Zoom room and you welcomed me, I felt very special. I just said all the things, but really I'm talking about the specific action. What did Kathy specifically do? She noticed me and she admitted me to the room. So I know it seems silly, but what is a time where you can say, this is the specific moment that something happened? And then how it made me feel. It made me feel welcomed. It made me feel seen. It made me feel special when she did that. And then you can expand on that by adding a juicy adjective or value. Your welcoming spirit is such an asset to this conference. Your smile, your ability to make people feel like they belong makes a difference. So when you put all that together, you have a very juicy nutritional encouragement for Kathy. This is where it's, oh, look how sweet Beth and her husband are. When they kissed, it made me feel like sweetness inside. I took the moment, I said how it made me feel, and their love towards one another is inspirational to others because not all couples are loving, have we noticed, right? So this is the type of encouragement that we want to give, because I could just say, oh, isn't that sweet? Which it is, but I can make it nutritional and juicy in that way. And so these are the types of words that we also use for our affirmations and our I am statements, but these are the types of words that we want to be able to attach. You show your enthusiasm, your bravery came through in this moment. You made people feel significant. So all of these words are the words that we want to make a part of our vocabulary as we give people that juicy nutritional encouragement. Step 4, the appreciation piece. When you attach your gratitude, which is the F in the Fierce this morning, feel gratitude. When you attach your gratitude to this encouragement, it just like levels it up that much more. Because people are like, not only did you see the thing that I did, so when you emptied the dishwasher, I felt like you cared about our family. It showed that you are responsible and proactive. And I really appreciated that it enabled us to be able to go for a walk instead of screaming about who was going to empty the dishwasher. Do you feel how different that would feel to receive as encouragement as opposed to, hey, thanks for emptying the dishwasher? How much better and how much more encouraged am I to do it again? Not that we should use this as a manipulation tool ever, but I'm just saying, how much more do you want to be that person when you feel seen as that person? Am I right? So nutritional encouragement does these things. It tells people, I see you clearly. I see what it means about who you are as a person. You are proactive. You want peace. You want a helpful transitions for our family. And it tells that I appreciate that about you. This is what nutritional encouragement does for people. And it's amazing, but it's not easy all the time. It takes thought. It takes intention. It takes effort. Let me see. So we are going to write some statements now. So think of someone in your head and get a pen and get a paper. I'm going to do this too. Get your phone and text it to somebody. Think of somebody that you actually want to like send this to right now. We are going to practice together, but other things that you can say, sorry, I'm excited about practicing. So maybe I should go through this slide first. So other ways that you can level this up. This is the allergy fog still impacting me. When you tell people that you believe in them, I believe in you, Serenity, that you are going to be amazing at marketing, that you are going to get a great job because I can tell you are conscientious because you show up on time. You are focused and paying attention to this session. So that means you have the ability to do that. So I believe that whatever you set your mind to, you are going to accomplish. I don't even know Serenity. And yet I know these things about her. I have been able to notice these things because I have that intention. I can say those things. So it's not hard, but it takes effort. When you're proud of someone, oh my gosh, have you seen a little kid when you tell them, I'm proud of you, for tackling that really big slide? Do you see they grow like 10 feet in that 30 seconds? Exactly. They stand up straighter, Beth. They're just ready to go. And maybe adults don't necessarily show us that as much, but it means just as much to them. As long as you're not using it in a condescending way. Like sometimes when people tell me that I'm proud of them and they're proud of me, and I'm like, I don't actually need you to be proud of me, but that's a whole nother story. So put a pin in that. You can delete that part from the recording later. That's not super positive. Leveling up, y'all. My daughter, I had a speaking engagement a few months ago, and I was really nervous because it was for a new organization that I didn't have a lot of experience with, and they weren't nearly as cool as y'all are. So I was very nervous. And she wrote me the sweetest note and left it on my computer the night before about, Mom, I know that you're going to be able to do amazing at this. Make sure you drink your water, and, just giving me advice, but also like telling me that she believed in me. And I kept that note. You guys have those notes, don't you? You have cards, you have notes, you have letters, you have Post-its that someone wrote to you, that it's not just in that moment that you got that nutritional encouragement, but you keep that with you. And so when you want to level up and you really want to make a difference, writing it out, we don't write enough in today's day and age, right? We need to write it out a little bit more, even if it's just on a Post-it on the mirror in the morning. That makes a huge difference. And last but not least, sharing publicly. Now, if you are a parent and this is about your child, tread with caution. There are nuances on how much you can share, and your child best to be able to navigate those. But particularly extroverts, particularly Enneagram 3s, love when you share publicly about how amazing we are. So the people that you are encouraging most. But when you share publicly, sometimes I don't know, even kids that say they're embarrassed, like when they overhear their parents bragging on them a little bit, it feels pretty good. So these are ways to level up your encouragement, to make sure that the people that you're talking to and talking about know what's awesome about them so that they can really flourish. That's the idea. So here's where we're going to practice. Okay. So I want you to write down 3 people that you want to share nutritious encouragement with this week. I challenge you to do someone in that 3 that's a little difficult for you. So I have people in my life who I love, but who are hard people for one reason or another. And I'm not asking you to, open toxic relationships or, anything like that. But I'm asking you to think about people that you wouldn't normally encourage, because it is all fun and good for me to encourage my kids and my husband and my clients. But the true test of my character is to be able to see the goodness in people who I don't necessarily see eye to eye with all the time, and who I don't just love hanging out with all the time. So maybe coworkers, maybe bosses, maybe troublesome siblings. What kind of nutritious encouragement can we find for them about who they are? Because those people know that maybe sometimes they're not your favorite person. So the encouragement that you give them actually is even stronger in their life, unless they think you're trying to manipulate them. And that's, again, where I have to come true with, like, it has to be genuine from the heart. You have to search your heart with this encouragement. It has to be true. And that's sometimes where writing it out can be super helpful, because you have time to think about it and make sure and test your own heart and say, like, is this something I truly believe and that I can see growing in their life and that being a good thing? So I'm going to give you like 5 minutes to think of those people and to try and write out one of these juicy encouragement statements for them. And if you want to text them right now, awesome. If you want to write them a card or a letter or a note or an email, feel free to do that now. Or if you just want to brainstorm right now, that is fine too. So I'm going to start a timer, and when it goes up, because that is the best way I know. Otherwise, I just stare at you guys like, are you doing it? Are you done? Are you done? So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to set a timer. And then when the timer goes off, we'll all know. So
Erin,
yeah.
do you have a slide that has the 4 pieces just to remind us and
That
our friends who might be watching in the future?
is a great question. And I don't think I do, but I can make one while we're doing this.
That's okay. I couldn't remember if the one you showed had the 4 steps on it at the end.
I think it had each of the steps, but you know what? During this 5 minutes, I'll rewind. So if anybody didn't write them down and wants to do that, I will go back through so they can write them down as we're doing this. Does that sound good? 5 minutes. So how do you feel when you're writing these out? Does it feel natural? Does it feel awkward? Does it feel a little vulnerable? I wrote one out to my husband. I'm like, I don't know if I want to tell him that. That feels too vulnerable. Does anyone else have that? I mean, like there's a discomfort because we're not used to this. This is not how normal, if there was a normal, people talk to other people, how they encourage them. But I will tell you, a lot of what I do with this is based on, I don't know if you've ever heard of the nurtured heart approach, but it's based on this understanding of really seeing people, really attaching those values. And this is the type of encouragement I've been using on my daughters since my oldest was 3 or 4 years old. And I'm telling you, based on everything I've seen in the education world with children, it's made a difference in who she believes herself to be because of receiving repeated encouragement in this way. They always tell you as a teacher to not build external motivations, but internal motivation. And that's really hard to do. How do you build internal without external? Like it's always this tricky question. And this is how you do it, by attaching their actions to their values and them deciding that's a value that I want to have, that I want to grow, that I want to be, so that their actions will come from that internal sense of knowing what their values are. So when you encourage others, you are changing the world by changing their world. There is no such thing as like too little of an impact. It's not like, that's not a thing. Every single word, action, it's all that ripple effect, right? So when you throw the rock in the water, it's not just the initial plop, but it's all the ripples that go out. And I've always viewed my life that way. But when you're talking about encouragement, like that's so what it's about. Another great book, if you guys are looking for children's books, and I know, most of you that are watching this are probably teens, but teens, guess what? You're not too old to read a children's book. It's still fun. There's a great book called A Girl with a Cape by Amy Logan. And it's all about that power of your words, and the power of how much positive, encouraging statements can do for the world when it ripples out, from this little girl to her mom, from her mom to the cashier, from the cashier to, whoever. And that's the way it looks. So never think that your words are wasted. They are never wasted. So my closing little illustration for you is about Lego bricks. So this is something that I love. These are actually not Lego bricks. Can you tell they're off brand? Like how generic, but that's fine. It's fine. But when you have 2 Lego bricks, 2 of these regular, let me see if I can, I want to say they're these little 6 Lego bricks. I bet Beth has some Lego bricks in her office, doesn't she? I bet she does. Yes. So when you have 2 Lego bricks, think of those Lego bricks as people or interactions. There are 24 possible combinations of how you put those Lego bricks together. So that's quite a few. If you go to 3 Lego bricks, so if you have 3 people encouraging one another and their possible combinations, there she is. Yes, that's perfect. 1,560 possible combinations by adding 1 brick. So if you encouraged one person and the 2 of you encouraged one another, 24 possible combinations. Now, obviously, this is not an exact science, but I'm telling you this in the frame of Lego bricks to help you see how big of an impact you can make. So if you encouraged 3 people, how much more, possible positivity you can be spreading in the world. So let's see. Guesses on 4 Lego bricks? Any guesses? How many combinations there would be with 4 Lego bricks?
500,000.
Let's see. 119,000. So you overshot a little bit, but that's okay. It's still a lot. It's a lot, right? It's a lot. 5 Lego bricks. I'm trying to think. I think I go up to 6. So 5 Lego bricks, 10 million. Over 10 million combinations with 5 Lego bricks. Because it's just exponential. The combinations that you can make with 5 Lego bricks of the same size, that much more. And with 6, over 915 million combinations. And I'm telling you this as an illustration as to how the combinations of encouragement that you have when you start spreading it all over the place, where it goes and the difference that it makes and the strength that those words have and they carry and they grow. And there's lots of ways that you can use this Lego brick illustration, but I think there's no better way than to think about how we're using our words to encourage others in such a playful and fun way. So y'all, that is all I have for you today. Any other questions? I know I went a little short on time today, even sharing my crappy day story.
Erin, thank you so much. That was absolutely, in some ways, mind-blowing, even as, like you said, simple as it is, but yet not simple, or simple but still hard to do. Simple doesn't always mean easy, right?
Exactly. Simple rarely means easy, unfortunately.
Right. Right. But I will say, when you have shared these ideas and these thoughts and concepts with us, I feel energized and motivated, because your positive energy and attention to each of us, and even to the people who might watch this recording who you've never met, I think will sense that individual attention that shows your loving heart and your passion for serving others. And so I have really appreciated this time to be with you. And I think I'm probably speaking on behalf of others.
Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate that nutritional encouragement, both that you reflected back what you're thinking about, as well as I accept and receive that as a presenter and as someone who needed some encouragement today. So I appreciate that.
And it was all true. I just thought it might be good to model the new skills that we've all just learned or been reminded of, and to do that authentically. So truly, thank you, Erin, for being a gift to us and helping us all to be young or not so young change makers.
Young
so
at heart.
you're in the club now. You can do the secret handshake. The pinky.
Is that what that is?
I think so. The secret handshake.
Yay.
Great. Well, thanks everybody for joining us for the Young Changemakers Club.